Chase is wide receiver. One.
Tell your grandma. Joe Burrow. Tell your mom. Tell Bob. From accounting.
Tell your grandma. One. Javante season.
It's throat punching season.
It's throat punching. It's throat punching.
It's throat punching season. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. Tell your mom.
It's the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Take a lap.
What is going on, good people? You are watching the Fantasy Football Show, and I'm your man, Smitty. And we have a good hour of fantasy football convo to get through. We're going to talk about wide receiver, some draft strategies, kind of break down some of the stuff in the news, and maybe some potential draft strategy approaches relating to wide receiver. So we're going to get into it and talk about it and figure out what is the best approach for you. Because guess what? What works for me might not work for you, Bob. What works for Bill might not work for me. What works for James, who's first in the door, Tyreek, Smokey the Cat, Terry, AAA, Jose, Bach, all you fine people. What works for you might not work for me. What works for me might not work for you. People need to stop telling other people how they have to draft. You've got to go running back. I'm so sick of the regurgitated, you have to go running back talk out there. It's madness. Guess what? Some wide receivers are scoring pretty big in fantasy football these days. Guess what? Cooper Kupp might be more valuable and safer than potentially a Dalvin Cook. Deal with it. That's the nature of fantasy football. Everything's a cycle. Yeah, Dalvin Cook's got a lot of upside, but you know what? That shoulder worries me. That shoulder worries me like no other. Yeah, sorry, Tyreek, the bold prediction is coming soon. Don't worry. It's coming today. I'm still crafting it. It takes a special kind of crafting to get these things posted. So I have to go to the hilltop, get the premonition, come back down. The bold prediction's coming. But I'm telling you right now, wide receiver is not a bad look in 2022. I'm telling you, wide receiver running back is not a bad look in 2022. People need to calm down with this whole you have to go running back garbage. Look, best player available is the only way to draft. And so in that, you're probably saying, well, you're just telling me to draft wide receiver. What are you talking about, Smitty? Best player available opens up the doors to everything. Best player available is the one approach and one strategy you must take into your draft and implement every single time, because it can lead you down the road of running back. Best player available can lead you down the road of wide receiver, running back. Best player available can lead you down the road of wide receiver, running back, wide receiver. It might even lead you down the road of wide receiver. And guess what? I'll take that road. I'll take that avenue. I don't care what people say about the scarcity of running back. I love when people talk to me as if I don't know what I'm like. I haven't encountered the running back scarce, Smitty. Let me explain something to you. As if I'm not a dinosaur. You know what I mean? Smitty, let me explain something to you. Running backs are scarce. I know you don't know this. I know this is new information for you, Smitty. Running backs are scarce. You gotta take a running back in round one, Smitty. You've got to. I don't have to. Watch me not do it. And I'm not saying I won't do it. You got a 1 point. Let's put context to this. You got a 1.1. You got a 1.2. You got a 1.3. You are most likely going to go running back. Let me make that abundantly clear. You got the 1.1. Am I telling you to go wide receiver? No, I'm not. It's JT. Okay? If Aaron Rodgers lands in Denver and Javonte Williams has Aaron Rodgers throwing him the rock, how comfortable am I in the top 3 or 4 when it comes to Javonte Williams? Very comfortable. Very comfortable. I love him in the top 5 if Aaron Rodgers, let's say, is in Denver. And even if he's not, like, is it Tyrod Taylor? Could it be, I don't know, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson get cleared up from all of this mess and get traded to Denver? If it's one of those options, I'm all in on this Javonte Williams top 3 or 4 overall value. Right now, Javonte in redraft is going in round 2. He's going in round 2. Javonte's going at 12, 13, 14, 15. He's not going at 4. And that's a lesson in itself. If you're in redraft, best ball, you're drafting in best ball. Right now, I'm telling you with 100% certainty, unless an injury happens or something crazy, you will not get Javonte Williams cheaper than you are getting him right now in current live 2022 best ball drafts, which you can draft in those right now by going to smitty1.com and using the link that I have provided for Underdog Fantasy. So I'll put that on that link on screen here, smitty1.com. Go play Underdog Fantasy using the link at smitty1.com and start drafting best ball right now. We're going to do that throughout the week. In the evenings, we're going to start. At some point, I was going to do it this week. We might do it tonight or tomorrow night. But we're going to jump into some private best ball drafts. 12 people can get in. We'll probably do it at night because people are at work. Some people watch this or listen to this at work. I want to make sure we have the right environment for it because we're going to have to fill those 12-team private drafts up. But Javonte Williams will never be cheaper than he is right now in best ball unless something crazy or catastrophic happens, because his situation will improve. Like, do you guys understand that? His situation's about to improve on different levels. Quarterback situation improvement coming. More than likely. Like, it could get botched, but even then, he'll earn where you're drafting him now. But Javonte Williams, quarterback upgrade, probably on the way. And could it be Aaron Rodgers? It might be. Could it be Tyrod Taylor? It might be. And guess what else? This man's going to have an open door to carries. Yeah, they use Melvin Gordon. Some people are worried about Melvin Gordon. I'm not too worried about Melvin Gordon because A, he may not even be on the roster. B, if you had a losing season and no hope for really anything to happen, why would you wear Javonte Williams down unnecessarily? You want to get a taste of what he can do. You want to get him mingled in the offense and get him prepared and let him marinate in that system and grasp it and absorb it and become the player he's becoming. But why would you give him 25 carries a game in a wasted year? It would be dumb. I know we wanted him to get the carries because we drafted him higher than he probably earned value-wise. And it was hard to see that coaching decision making coming in that respect, but it did. It came. They made a smart move in the end, let's be honest, to save this man and not work him into the ground in a meaningless season. Like, if you're the coach, you're probably in agreement with that. And since 2021 is behind us, who cares about it? 2022's Javonte season, and he's on the way, broskies. He's on the way. He's on the way, and I'm excited about it. You're excited about it. This guy's got top 3 to 4 to 5 overall value the moment his quarterback situation changes. Right now, enjoy the best ball value that is Javonte Williams, that is living in picks 11, 12, 13, 14. It is absolutely crazy. What's up, Angel? What's up, everybody? Appreciate you being in here. What's up, Terry? What's good, Call Saul? Appreciate you being here, good buddy. Hit the thumbs up on your way in the door. So what's this best player available, Smitty? Because I'm told by Bob from accounting, who has 4 magazines each year, who gets his advice from this mainstream media and mainstream fantasy football content, and they say running back is what you got to do in round 1, Smitty, because it's scarce. What's that word? I wrote it down. Scarcity, Smitty. Running backs are scarce. How many running backs busted? Now, wide receivers busted too, let's be fair. But how many running backs busted on you or any of us or fantasy football in general in 2022? Look, we're at the brink of potential meltdown for some of these top running backs that are still going to linger in the 4 to 12 range. Kamara, Dalvin Cook, obviously Zeke Elliott. You better not even be thinking about Zeke Elliott in the first round. Christian McCaffrey is going to linger in that first round. Some people are still going to, yes, King Julian Barkley. People drafted Barkley in round 1 last year. Despite all the alarm sounds that we sounded the alarm on Saquon Barkley, and yet everybody continued to draft him. We hit the alarm, we sounded the alarm, and no one listened to us. We said no Barkley, just like we said no Todd Gurley, but people kept doing it over and over and over again. What did they say? What did they say, Tyreek? What did they say, Terry? Hey, Kenny, what did they say? They said, we're not drafting Barkley for week 1, Smitty. We're just not. We're drafting him for later. Then week 4 came along. We didn't draft Barkley for weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Smitty. We drafted him for this time right now. Weeks 10 through... Smitty, if he didn't suffer the ankle injury, he would be a machine. Smitty, if they didn't vulture his touchdowns and had a good offensive line and had an offense that could move the football whatsoever, Smitty, he would be a monster. Well, guess what, Bob? We live in a world where Saquon Barkley does get vultured touchdowns, Bob. We live in a world where Saquon Barkley's offensive line is garbage, Bob. And we live in a world where Saquon Barkley is injury prone. Where was I even going? I get so sidetracked. That's why sometimes I don't look at the comments, because I'm scared I'm going to go down a tangent I can't come back from. Like, I cannot be reeled back. Christian McCaffrey, vulnerable and willing, capable of busting running back. Kamara, situation is very, very complex, and he also has struggled with injuries, and his mileage is big. Dalvin Cook, give me a... You know what? I'm almost to the point now. I've done a couple mock drafts so far, but I don't think I'm drafting Dalvin Cook anymore. I'm going to have some content on Dalvin Cook. But this guy's shoulder and that torn labrum that keeps the ball and socket in place has been abused. We don't know if he's going to have off-season surgery. Heck, we probably won't know. They probably won't tell us until August or maybe September 1. Oh, by the way, Dalvin Cook had surgery. Or, by the way, Dalvin Cook didn't have surgery. He's torn that labrum so much. His labrum is literally like, if here is your ball and socket. Okay? This is the ball and socket joint. This right here is the labrum. The labrum, in a sense, keeps the ball inside the socket. And it's fit perfectly. It's thick enough to where it's like a seal. When you tear and pop your ball out of the socket, you rip part of the labrum. That tear can be huge. That tear can be in multiple places. We unfortunately don't know and will not know the full extent of what his shoulder looks like. We can only assume, based on the amount of times this thing has gone like this, that his labrum looks about like that. I don't really know. I'm guessing, but my guess is this man's labrum is not going to hold that ball and socket in there for very long. I will, therefore, be avoiding, I'm saying it right now, I rule that fantasy football, the fantasy football show viewers, tread lightly and avoid at all costs Dalvin Cook in the top 5-6 overall in 2022 because of not only potential labrum issues and ball and socket issues and other injury issues. Like, the writing's on the wall for this one, people. Like, I don't want to hear, Smitty, you can't predict injury when Dalvin Cook goes down for significant time in 2022. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear, you got lucky, you're throwing mud at the wall to see what will stick, Smitty. I don't want to hear it, because this writing is on the wall. This writing is on the wall so clearly. He's got the labrum. He's got the injury prone, his injury history and injury proneness. the history of his injuries. He's had the ACL. He's had all kinds of hamstring. He's had issues up and down his whole body. And this guy also has off the field issues that kind of just got quiet on us. We don't know what's really going on there. It's a lot of red flags. It's a lot of red flags. Madison's a good running back. Madison's a capable running back. They're not afraid to play Dalvin Cook hurt, clearly, because they feel so good about Alexander Madison. I'm not saying it's a great plan to avoid Dalvin Cook all the way down the first round when you could maybe draft him and even trade him, or draft him and secure Alexander Madison. That can be a safe approach. If Dalvin Cook falls way too far, like ridiculously falls too far, that is a whole different ball game. But I'm staying away from Dalvin Cook at all costs. I'm only drafting Alexander Madison. I'm going to snipe Alexander Madison from every single Dalvin Cook owner in my drafts. I feel bad for the Dalvin Cook owner because every single Dalvin Cook owner is going to look like this. The moment I draft Alexander Madison 1.5 rounds too early to ensure that I get him and stash him on my bench because it might be Madison season. Madison might emerge and have 5 starts and win you a league. Madison might not. I don't care because I'm reaching at a place where it doesn't really matter. If I miss on Alexander Madison, who cares? If I land Alexander Madison late, guess what? Ball game. Terry with the super chat. Smitty, sign me up for your tech services for 2022, pal. Let's do this, Smitty. Okay, yeah, Terry, I will text you, pal. I appreciate you, buddy. Terry's the man. Terry's the man. Terry, what was I gonna say to you? Terry, who was your biggest breakout for 2022 on your team? I'm blanking. I thought it was Chase. Maybe you didn't have Chase on your team. Appreciate you, Terry. Okay. Wide receiver. What is so good about wide receiver, Smitty? I thought you said best player available. Let's take it to the board. Which is going to reset our timer, but that's okay. That is okay. Let's take it to the board. Best player available. What's best player available, Smitty? JD. Who's JD? JT. JT number 1. Who's number 2? Probably Najee Harris. Who's number 3? It's either Eckler. I know some of you are going to say Henry. I think Javonte needs to be talked about here. The question will be, is Javonte sorry, I got a lot of screens already preloaded, so I got some music that plays, but Javonte will be 3 or 4 or 5 worthy if he lands a quarterback. Okay, that's going to be the big thing. For right now, it's probably Eckler. Okay, it's probably Eckler. After that, I think if you put Henry there, I'm gonna caveat that. I might have some serious concerns. With Henry going in the top 5. And those videos will be unveiled here shortly. For now, if you draft him here, make certain that your main objective is to trade Derrick Henry by by week 7, week 6 or 7. If you hang on to Henry past week 7, I think you're going to live to regret it. And actually, instead of doing it on the board, let's do it right here. So we'll say number 1 is Taylor. So Taylor 1. 2, Harris. 3, I'm not even positive Eckler's going to be 3 for me though. Let's just say Henry's your 4, okay? Because I'm not going to fight against the grain right now. Let's let my videos do the talking as to whether you take Henry out of your top 5 or not. But those videos are upcoming. Those videos are coming forthwith. Here's your top 4-ish in general in fantasy football 2022. And what we're going to see happen is people traditionally are going to continue to keep the running backs rolling. It's going to be Dalvin Cook. It's going to be Alvin Kamara. It's going to be potentially Christian McCaffrey. It might be Nick Chubb. People are just going to continue to draft these running backs. What I'm telling you is right here, this would be the ideal place, number 5, to take, whether if it's redraft, you can take Cooper Kupp. If it's dynasty, I would take either Jamar Chase or Jefferson. Personally, I have Chase number 1 out of all wide receivers for 2022 and beyond. Jefferson. This right here is my top 7 if I'm using the 1 through 4 ADP. Okay? Because I don't have Henry 4. Again, that content's coming. Don't worry. If you want to know why, I'm going to break it all down. You've heard a lot of it before, but I have some serious concerns about Henry being drafted by me, period, in 2022. But if we use the consensus top 4 and we say we're on the clock at pick 5, 6, 7, which is where I recommend you explore wide receiver. Don't explore it at 1, 2, 3, or 4 because you don't need to. Even if you get handed a number 3 or number 4 pick, don't just take Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, or Jefferson because I'm telling you they're valued there. I truly you want to know my true belief? This is my true hardcore in my bones. This is how I feel. I feel this is the actual value. I'll probably put Kupp here. Kupp, then Jefferson. These are like tied, these guys. This, in my opinion, is how it should be. How it should be is not how I recommend that you draft. How I believe it's going to end up turning out is to your advantage because I am not telling you. I repeat for everybody in the back and for Bob who's screaming going, Smitty, you can't take Chase at 3? Haven't you read the fantasy magazine, Smitty? They say go robust RB, Smitty. This is how I believe it will be. This is how I believe it should be. This is how everybody should be drafting. Taylor, Harris, and then Javonte. If Javonte gets, his quarterback, then let's see here. Javonte will be in this mix right here. But this is how it should be. Chase, Kupp, Jefferson. Guys, this is my top 5. This is my top 5. I repeat, my top 5 is Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, and Justin Jefferson inside my top 5. I have 3 wide receivers inside my top 5. I didn't stutter. Javonte's going to be in there in that mix as soon as he gets a quarterback, so know that. So I'll put him there so people don't freak out and say, Smitty, you're down on Javonte? This is my top 5. And I'll even number it because I know it's going to burn some people. I can't tell you the amount of DMs I'm getting right now. Smitty, as if I'm a moron. Smitty, the reason you take running back, Smitty, is because they're scarce, Smitty. Don't you know? Have you ever played... Have you ever played fantasy football before, Smitty? You seem like this is your first time. This is my top 5. What are you going to do? At me? What are you going to do? At me? Oh, no. Don't at me. Don't do it. Don't send me a nasty DM. Don't do it. I have thick skin. It hurts. Smitty's so stupid. Smitty. Has he not seen that running backs are what you do? It's how you do it, Smitty. It's been, Dad did it, Mom did it. It's how everybody does it. This is what we're doing. But guess what? Guess what? And let's keep them numbered the way we want them, okay? Henry's going here probably. In fact, Henry will probably go here. Eckler will probably go here. Chase won't go here. It will likely be let's see here. Cook. Can I do a strike through on this? I don't think I can. Let's put it in red. We'll put in red the players I do not want you to take. Cook will go here. I don't mind Kamara at the right value. Like if you have Kamara as a keeper, look, I'm not going to tell you to like cut him. I'm not going to tell you he's garbage. I'm not going to tell you he's absolutely a must get rid of or anything like that. But I'm not drafting him here. I'm not revisiting his like draft value again. If I own him, I just ride it out. This is probably going to be how people are going to draft. And let me now reorder them. Harris seems to be slipping a little bit. I think if he lands Aaron Rodgers, he'll jump up to like 1. It'll be Harris and Taylor side by side. Mark my words. If Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, probably not Tyrod, but if Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson land in Pittsburgh, Harris and Taylor will share the 1.1. Right now, Harris is dropping a little bit. People seem to be a little down on the dude. Eckler will probably be 4. Dalvin Cook will probably be 5 or 4. Kamara will probably be 5 or 6 or 7. And Christian McCaffrey will either be 3 or 8. He's going to be all over the map. No go. No go. No go. I take this guy 3rd if I have to, but don't tell anybody because I don't have to. I take this guy 4th if I have to, but please don't tell anybody that I would. And I'd take this guy right alongside. I'd rotate between him and Kupp at number 4 if we didn't have to. Or if we had to, but we don't have to. So we're not gonna. So don't do it because you don't need to, but do it if you needed to. Smitty endorsed. Smitty approved. That's it. That's it. These 3 guys, you need to consider them if you're drafting 5, 6, 7, or 8. Do I take Eckler over Chase? This is where it gets a little tricky. This is where best player available actually considers the position. Because a lot of people are going to say, Smitty, if you say best player available, why won't you just draft Jamar Chase over Eckler? When it gets gray, when it becomes a gray area, and you have 2 players very close, like Jefferson and Eckler, or Kupp and Eckler, or Chase and Eckler, it is close and arguable. If you feel the climate in your league will completely eliminate the running back position and availability for you in your draft, that can dictate what best player available means and how you interpret it. Best player available doesn't just mean who's going to score the most points. Best player available encompasses everything. Like, best player available doesn't mean like the top 5, 6, 7 scorers in a league are going to be quarterbacks. Like Aaron Rodgers might be the 7th overall scorer in fantasy football, but you're not going to take him 7 overall. He has 6 quarterbacks above him. You're not going to take Rodgers 7 overall. If people interpret best player available as the highest scoring player, I'd be recommending quarterbacks way too early. You encompass everything. You take into account everything. Best player available is the best player available to you in your league with the flow of draft, with who you've already got in your team, with how you predict your league mates to draft. That is best player available. Don't get it twisted up. People define best player available for me, and they don't even watch my content. Best player available, which I've been using since the beginning of my career, which is now 2 decades long, I'm afraid to admit. I've been talking about best player available before it was really a thing. Okay, so I can define it however I want. And I'm defining it best player available for your individual situation. And if Eckler does stand out as the best player available based on what you know about your league, even though you kind of like Jefferson like pound for pound more, you can go Eckler. That's best player available. Implement it. It'll lead you down a road where you might go running back. Running back, best player available, BPA, as we'll call it moving forward to save breath. BPA can lead you down a running back approach. It could lead you down a running back approach. Best player available does not mean I don't like running back. Smitty doesn't like running backs. He likes best player available, which means he's always going wide receiver. That's not the case. The reason I'm telling you wide receiver must be taken into strong consideration in 2022 is because, in my view, based on what I've looked at so far in 2022, based on the mock drafts I've done, the rankings I've done, the articles I've written, the research I've done, the heavy video production and content diving that I've done, I'm telling you, wide receiver from like number 5 overall deep into the second round tends to be the best player available. So I know for a fact that I'm typically going to like wide receiver a whole heck of a lot the entire way through number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and on through to the majority of that second round. Now, will I draft a running back like Swift if I've got a Chase at top and I need a running back and best player available indicates to me, it says and it screams from my shoulder, Schmitty, best player available is DeAndre Swift, even though he's equal to the wide receiver on the board, I'm taking DeAndre Swift. That's all a part of it. It's all part of it. But on average, I'm going to love these wide receivers because they're deep, people. They are deep. You've got Tyreek Hill. Let's put him on the board. Let's look at the wide receivers. And let's rank all these guys. You got Tyreek Hill, who got beat in a foot race, which is phenomenal. Like, this is crazy. I cannot believe the cheetah was beat. Ziggy, show me the front door. Please tell me Miss Smitty's home. Because we got the kid. I got the baby monitor right here, and the kid's taking a nap. And the kid's looking like it might wake up, and I got to run in there. Ziggy, show me the front door. Smitty, you guys don't understand the moving parts that is the fantasy football show at Miss Smitty's home. Boom! Boom! Hold on, I'm going to put this baby monitor out there for her. Hand off! Yeah, buddies. Successful handoff. Whew! Now I can relax. Tyreek Hill, that was stressful. You guys don't understand. There are shows I'm doing here where I'm double duty. I'm double dipping. I'm double dipping on watching a child at times. It's about 2 days a week. Your man Smitty is tied up, and I'm still trying to juggle this stuff. So pretty impressive, I might say. I might say for myself. Lamb needs to be talked about. Deebo Samuel, Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel. Let's put Deebo up. I haven't even told you guys about my favorite approach yet. Yes, Terry, thank you. 49er watching, only 27 likes. Can we please get the likes to match? If you're watching and I'm delivering any kind of valuable or entertaining information, even if you don't like the show and you're still watching, I think that might earn a thumbs up. So can we get it to match up? Terry, let me know if it matches up. Just punch it. If you're watching, you can close the live chat out, hit the thumb up, click live chat, you're back. And you help me. You help me, help you, help me, help you. Appreciate you. Deebo, I haven't even told you my favorite draft strategy for 2022, or becoming one of my favorite approaches, and I'm going to tell you kind of at the end here. We've got 20 minutes left in the show. I'm going to tell you, because best player available, that's just the way of life. That's not an approach. That's what you got to do. You bring that to the table every time. The draft strategies inside of best player available are where it's at. You bring best player available to the table every single time you draft. Every single time you draft. Your strategies within are what create champions. the modifications, the change in direction, the finding how to maneuver. And I've got an approach that is going to, I think, be massive and make you all feel real good about your squads walking into 2022. So we're going to talk about that. Debo, Adams, A.J. Brown. Who are we missing? Adams, AJB, Adams, Lamb. Yes, Lamb deserves to be talked about here. And Metcalf, he used to be there. He kind of is. Diggs. And Diggs has got some question, but he still has the potential to be a wide receiver one. These are all wide receiver one potential guys right here. And DK deserves to be kind of at the tail end of it. I really think he could have a good year. So look at these wide receivers. Look how many there are. You've got Chase, Kupp, Jefferson. Let me rank them in my preference for 2022. This is not Dynasty. This is 2022. Chase, Kupp, Jefferson is probably my 1, 2, 3. Let's see here. Tyreek Hill, probably the 4. Adams, for now, I'm assuming he doesn't have A-Rod, and he's tagged in Green Bay with Love. I'm probably going to say Debo. We'll put Adams here because we don't know for certain what his situation is going to be, and you can't discredit him too much. A.J. Brown, Diggs, Lamb's a value. This doesn't mean I don't like Lamb. That is probably my ranking for 2022. McLaurin, too. But he's like a crafty wide receiver 2 that can play like a wide receiver 1. Debo over Jefferson, Smitty? No. No, Terry. I mean, you could, but not me. Not me. That's my wide receiver rank. These guys, this runs deep. This runs into round 2. Deep into round 2. Like, all these players won't be gone at the tail end of round 2. Running backs, you have Swift, Chubb, Mixon. Let me put, I'll put the guys in red that I don't want to necessarily draft. So Mixon is fine. I'm fine with Mixon. He's not in my top like 10, but it's no disrespect. I mean, he had a great year. I like him a lot. Javante's here. Chubb I'm going to stay away from. We'll put Chubb. We've got Swift. Gibson. I'm not putting Barkley on here, but you guys know my thoughts on Barkley. Gibson, I'm kind of like a void for now. Gibby. Am I missing anybody besides Swift? Let me put Swift on here. Monty, not yet. Who am I missing here? We got Eckler, Cook, Kamara, Henry, Mixon, Javonte, Swift, CMC, Chubb. Kenneth Walker will come into the equation here soon. Monty, Barkley, no. Mitchell, Eli Mitchell, maybe Mitchell. Let's put Mitchell on here. Now, I like Mitchell. He's not going to be in red. Yeah, Hopkins too. You're right. Good catch. And a lot of people are not going to like that, but Hopkins is going to be a crap. Like, I'm going to talk about him. He's part of one of my favorite draft strategies this year. You could even put Hopkins like right here above DK. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Either one. But that's it. That's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wide receivers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 running backs. Now, let's take out the guys. Let's start ranking these in terms of how people are going to draft. Keenan Allen, not top 10. Or, yeah, this group, he's not getting in this group, but he definitely would be at the end. No earlier than round 5. On Akers ain't getting near this. Okay. So, I would draft him. Taylor, absolutely. Henry, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put Henry in red. And again, videos coming. So TBA on the videos on that. Henry, I'm not drafting. Harris, I absolutely love. We're going off ADP potentially. How I predict people to draft. This is not my ranking. Hence why you have red players being drafted. Eckler, you got Cook. I think you got probably CMC. Then you probably have Kamara. 4, 5. Let's call this 6. I think people are going to draft him this high. I think people are going to get more and more amped about Christian McCaffrey. Watch. It usually, the value usually grows. I think people start considering Kupp around this area. You could even see people do that. But I think Kupp goes here. I think Jefferson maybe goes here. I think Chubb probably goes here. I think Mixon could potentially go here. And I'm not opposed to Mixon. I'm not putting Mixon in red. Gibby, no. Then Jamar Chase potentially. So we're at 1, 2, so 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Jamar Chase at the 12, 13 feels about where people are going to have him. Again, this is not my ranking. This is how I predict people to draft. I think Adams is going to, if you're drafting today, people would still take Adams. I think Hill would probably go here. I think Swift could go in here. I believe Javonte would probably go right around here. I think Debo starts getting respect around here. I think Kelsey probably gets drafted right around this range, maybe higher. And I'm going to put him in red because I won't draft Kelsey at his current value. AJ Brown, maybe right here. Maybe Gibby. Maybe Gibby would go here. Fournette, no, guys, we're not drafting Fournette that high. I don't know if Barkley's going to go in this range. But here's 7, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Probably Diggs, 20. There's your top 20. Look how many of these guys are still outside this range. I love the value of wide receivers. AJ Brown probably around here. I could see Mitchell even going ahead of AJ Brown, which isn't crazy, but I could see that happening. Hopkins will be a fantastic steal in round 3. Lamb will be a steal in round 3. DK will be a steal in round 3. I don't think Diggs will fall to round 3, but he'd be a steal. Here's my take on this. Red players are players I wouldn't draft. I'm going to say I'm going to put in green the guys that are going to win leagues for people. Even this early in a draft. You can have league winners in round 2. You can have a league winner at number 8 overall. Devo shouldn't be doubted after what he did at this kind of value. Like, do I like him at 5 overall? No, but that's how good he played, and you don't have to go anywhere near that. So it's great. Diggs, I'm not down on him. He's not going to get a red tag, but I'm not going to give him a green tag. I think Lamb, most certainly over here, is going to get one. Hopkins in 3rd round value, because that's where we're kind of projecting these guys to go. He could win you a league there. And when I say win you a league, I mean he's going to be a huge difference maker. Let's just put it that way. Who am I missing? Am I missing anybody? McLaurin I like. He's right on the verge of being talked about. Wide receivers, I don't think I'm missing a wide receiver. I'm not putting Andrews or Kittle or Pitts or anybody up here. I don't think I'm missing. So right when you get to this range right here, so this is like rounds 1 and 2, you start getting into Lamb, Hopkins, DK, Aaron Jones, guys like that. I think the top 2 quarterbacks need to be considered in this lot right here. So here's my approach. Here's my approach in 2022. This is a league-winning approach. You ready? This marker is about done. Here we go. Doing it live. Goodbye, marker. Prime. Shake weight. I'm going to get the ink in there. Or the marker. There we go. Come on. Liquid chalk. Do your thing. Oh, look at that. We should have did this earlier. Look at those fine lines. Unbelievable. We've been playing with Mickey Mouse. Okay. 5, 6. Seven, 8. Here's a strategy that I think wins leagues. You get I don't know, we'll call it a 1.6. You take Jamar Chase. If you got a 1.6, that means you have a pick here, 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 and so on, right? We're just like middle of the pack draft slots. Trade your second, potentially a different pick too. Your second, and let's call it 6. Let's see if you can get away with this. Your second and your 6th round picks, and the key to this is doing a 2-for-1. If you do this whole, okay, I'll take your 1.7, Smitty. I'll take your 1.7 and then give me a later pick back. You're not going to shock anybody enough to do this 1.7 for a second and 5th rounder, or 6th rounder, second and 6th rounder, if you're asking for something in return. The allure is in the free draft selection. The allure is in you're getting a free extra pick. You're not moving up or down a pick. Everybody that says, Smitty, I've tried this, and you've got to offer bold moves that make someone say yes and they later regret it. They later on say, why did I accept that? You make them an offer they think is ridiculous and people are going to make fun of you because you gave up an extra pick. Walk out of your draft with the number 1 and number 2 wide receiver, or in the case of Kupp and Jefferson, Chase and Kupp, whatever combination of the top 3. This strategy to me is going to kill. It's going to crush 2022. You're moving this pick up and guaranteeing yourself that player. Here you can still get the running back, like you could potentially get a Mitchell type running back. You can still build a running back stable. You can load up on guys like Aaron Jones's will fall. Running backs like Monty will fall. Gibson could fall. Guys like Elliott could fall. I don't like drafting them early, but you will have your pick of rookies. James Connors, Elijah Mitchell, Breece Hall, rookie. Kenneth Walker will probably fall to round 3, rookie. Like I said, Monty. There will be players that will fall. You could accumulate a couple of those running backs and have a Jamar Chase and Jefferson, or a Kupp and Jefferson, or a Kupp and Chase, and kick off. And you can even try and do this without surrendering your 2nd round pick. So try and keep your 2nd round pick. Let's say you give up. This is your 6th. Let's say you give up your 3rd and your 5th. This is possible. I do it all the time. I don't want to hear it's not possible. You could give up your 3rd and your 5th rounder for this 1.7. It happens all the time. Then in that case, you're guaranteed to get a Mitchell. You're guaranteed to get probably a David Montgomery at the latest, or an Aaron Jones, or whatever you want. But you don't even have to take a running back there, because if best player available here ends up being, let's call it a who do we have on the list here? Let's say it's AJ Brown or Diggs. I mean, if you could walk away with an AJB, Jefferson, Chase, no running backs until this range, so what? Who cares? Who cares? You could walk away with, guys that are questionable at running back, but you could potentially still get a Monty. You could still get a maybe even a Zeke Elliott, and a bunch of those guys who is not going to be good for a grip of time, but you cuff them to Pollard. Now you have the Pollard breakout with Elliott. I'm not a big fan of Elliott, but these guys are going to fall. I don't know how far they're going to fall, but they will fall. There will be running backs available, a plethora of rookies. You can grab 2 or 3 rookie running backs. You can piece together your running back situation. Imagine walking out of your draft, though, with these 3 wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Jefferson, and A.J. Brown. Or if you don't like A.J. Brown, insert whoever. Or if you got rid of this pick in order to get that, and you don't have this pick, but you have this pick, and you go with a Hopkins or a Lamb. So Hopkins or a CeeDee Lamb. Or if you don't like Lamb, whatever. I don't mind going wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. You can at me all you want. I will build a championship team this way. It doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody's comfortable with that. Some people lose sleep at night and they can't live with themselves. They literally stay awake. And I've had people do this. People say, Smitty, help me construct something crazy. Help me think outside of the box. Help me be unorthodox, Smitty. Help me be unorthodox. I love A.J. Dillon, Roger. That's the whole point of this, what I'm talking about. You stockpile A.J. Dillon and Madison, and you grab a Zeke, and you take a chance because you have a Pollard. Then Zeke becomes valuable to you because you got 3 wide receivers. You end up drafting Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and CeeDee Lamb, or Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and A.J. Brown, and then you get a Zeke and a Pollard, and you get a bunch of rookies, and you smash them together. You get a Herbert later because he's probably still going to fall too late. But where was I headed? I forget what I was saying. I love this approach, though. I love this approach. I love that people think I'm going to be in trouble drafting like this. Watch me. What works for you may not work for me. What works for me may not work for you. Make sure you draft to your strengths. Sorry, I'm still a little under the weather. I'm losing my voice at this point. Oh, I was talking about how I love when people... I'll get people that'll text me on the text line. They'll say, Smitty. And obviously I'm not going to give any names. But Smitty, hey, I want to do something outside the box. And then I'm like, hey, let's go. Let's do this. And we go ahead and we draft some amazing team like this. And then all this person does all year long is try to get out of it. And they make bad trades without talking to me. And they come back and like, I couldn't stand it, Smitty. I didn't like my running back too. And they just made the situation a lot worse in their mind, and they just unraveled it. You got to be able to roll with this kind of stuff. Thank you, Terry. Can't wait for Chase to be in my league next year. Chase is going to be amazing. Smitty, how do you feel about Dillon? I love him. You could also take Breece Hall. I love Spiller. I love Hall. I love Rashad White. Rashad White's going to be fire. Give me Carter, Harris, and Stevenson late. Exactly. Hard pass on Zeke. It depends on where, though. You know what I mean? Like, if you can get Zeke and Pollard together and you draft wide receiver, Zeke all of a sudden has a little bit different. My strength is running back heavy approach. It's won me a lot of leagues. And stick to your strength, Swaggy. If that's the way you do it, don't change for anybody. But don't be afraid to explore either, because maybe best player approach will have you dominating even more. You know what I mean? So like if you got another league, you do enough leagues, you can try and experiment in one or two don't always, I hate the idea of drafting based on position. Like, no offense, Swaggy, but I cannot stand, like, drafting based off a tier, or I'm going to go running back in round 1 when you don't even know who's on the board. Like, what fun is that? Like, I'm going to own a running back. I don't know who yet, but they're going to be great. You know, like, I'd rather take the guys I want to. I'd rather lose. I don't lose. You know, I'm not saying I lose with my strategies, but I'd rather lose enjoying it than just drafting players I don't necessarily even like because they're next up on my running back tier sheet. You know what I mean? And Swaggy, I'm not saying you've done that. I'm just saying, like, I get people that are like, I'm going to go running back. I'm going to go running back no matter what happens. I have the sheet, the tier sheet. I don't care who. Anybody in 4 to 7's in the same tier. Therefore, I don't care who it is. I will draft whoever's left over. In fact, I prefer to have the last pick of the lot so that the decision's made for me. Like, that's the kind of person that I find a lot of the time, not saying you, Swaggy. I find a lot of the time that draft, it's like they want to be told what to do. Some people actually want me to just draft for them, and that's fine. And I help them. I don't ever take any with my draft call. I don't take over someone's team. They've got to draft. I'll help them draft. I don't draft for anybody. I have so many people that say, Smitty, the draft call, can I just have you draft for me? No, I want to help you get better at fantasy football. It feels like the people that absorb the running back approach, like as law, like you have to go running back, doesn't matter what wide receiver's there, you can get them later, you can get a wide receiver later, they're available, you can take any wide receiver, you can have 3 wide receivers, they don't have to be sexy picks, but they'll be there, they'll be reliable. You'll have 3 wide receivers that you kind of like. Don't worry. Go running back. Doesn't matter who. Those are the people that ask me to draft for them. I want to have fun as well. And I want to pick the players I want, not a position. And the good news is, best player available helps you win more than it doesn't. I promise you. If you stick to it, you commit to it, and you get better at it. You learn your strengths and your weaknesses. And please... I'm losing my voice. I'm glad it's Friday because I got one more show tonight, the Quad Box show. But I'm losing my voice. If you take one thing away from this episode, and the episode's ending right now, one thing away from this episode is that best player available incorporates who you think, not who I think the best player available is. The best player available is who, in your mind, is the best option left on the board given all things considered. Don't get it twisted. It's not ADP drafting. People think best player available is drafting based off the ADP rank. Those people don't know what they're talking about. Those people don't know what I'm saying. Those people do not absorb or take in what I'm saying. Best player available is not picking the top guy ranked by somebody else, ranked by ADP data, ranked by your draft management system, your league management software that says this guy's the top guy available. Not if he's not in your mind. Best player available is taking the best player available in your mind based on everything that you can gather together while on the clock and analyzing the entire situation. It's the only way to draft. It's the only way to draft. You draft by that 100% of the time, and then you take detours within it. Okay? Everything's equal. I'm looking at the landscape. These 2 guys, best player available. One's a wide receiver, one's a running back. And the wide receiver might be a tad bit better, but guess what? Because of the scarcity of the running back position within the confines of best player available, and with everything considered, the running back is the best player available at this point. I'm taking this player. I'm taking DeAndre Swift over this wide receiver that I have just right next to him. Even though I kind of trust wide receiver more this year, I'm going to go with the running back. That's best player available. I appreciate everybody being here. Subscribe. Michael from accounting. Wrong, Smitty. This is Michael from accounting, drafted Eckler, Najee in 2021 and doing something similar. Do you, Michael? I drafted the same thing, bro. I've drafted running back. That's the whole point. Michael from accounting is running back can fall within the confines of BPA, baby. It can fall right in there. Appreciate everybody. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the thumbs up on your way out the door and leave a comment because I'll get back to every single one of you. At least a 99% chance of it. If you comment and leave a question in the comments of this video in the next 12 to 24 hours. So drop it like it's hot and get ready. Follow me on Instagram at the Fantasy Football Show because we're going live on the Quad Box in a little bit. We'll go live on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to my new YouTube. I have a couple new YouTube channels. Number one, go to my YouTube homepage, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see all three of the channels that I'm associated with. Make sure you're following all of them. We're going live on the Quad Box Show tonight, and we're talking about Niners. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun. But we won't just talk Niners. Tonight we're talking about the coaching mess going on in the NFL. We're going to be talking about Flores. We're going to be talking about Denver and the Giants and everything that's going on. We'll probably be talking about some offseason stuff as it relates to the Niners because it is a Niners geared and based show. But we're talking about Flores and everything relating to that NFL controversy tonight. So join me tonight. Appreciate every one of you. Peace out.